Hi, everyone. We're so happy that you could join us today for another one of our such fun times with authors and illustrators that write the amazing capstone books. And today is one of my all-time favorite series that Capstone has ever done. It is the YASMIN series, and we're going to talk to the author, Saadia. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm so excited. I always love talking about Yasmin and her adventures.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, they are just a big hit in our library, and I'm so happy that you were able to join us because the kids are going to get to listen to you read the new
Oh,
one
yes.
about a librarian. And I think these are actually, we'll talk about these after you read to us, but these are some of the new ones. And we're going to show the pictures on the screen, and you can just start by reading your newest book.
All right, I'm excited. Let's go. Okay, so this is Yasmin the Librarian, and like Shannon said, written by me, Saadia Faruqi, and the illustrator who I always remember to mention because his art is so phenomenal is Hatim Ali, and he does all the art in these books. Chapter 1, The Helper. You know what? I'm gonna put my glasses on. Yasmin's class lined up to go to the library. It was the last hour of the day. Everyone was tired, except for Yasmin. She was excited. She had a book to show the librarian, and it was her day to be helper. Come in, called Mrs. Kogo, the librarian. The library is waiting for you. The library was big and sunny. There were shelves of books everywhere. Yasmin, what's that under your arm? Mrs. Kogo asked. I brought my favorite book to show you. It's about cats. My Baba gave it to me, Yasmin said. Mrs. Kogo's desk was piled high with books. How nice. We'll look at it after our library work is done. She smiled at Yasmin. I see that you're my helper today. If we work together, we can put all the books back in no time. Yasmin nodded. I'm ready to work. Chapter 2, Busy with Books. Mrs. Kogo showed Yasmin how to shelf books. The storybooks go in order by the author's last name, Mrs. Kogo said. She showed Yasmin the alphabet signs on the shelves. As long as you know your ABCs, you'll be fine. Yasmin piled all the books in a cart and began shelving. A, then B, then C, all the way up to Z. She even found an author with the last name Emma, just like her. Emma walked up. Yasmin, I can't find the book I want, she complained. Yasmin checked the author's last name. It started with a G. Right there, Yasmin pointed. Thanks, Yasmin, Emma said. When the books were all shelved, Mrs. Kogo asked Yasmin to tidy up the tables and chairs. Ali needed help too. Yasmin, do you know where the bookmarks are? He asked. Yasmin found the box on Mrs. Kogo's desk. Here you go. Finally, all of Yasmin's tasks were finished. Now she could show Mrs. Kogo her special book. But where was it? Yasmin realized she didn't have it anymore. My kitab, she felt like crying. Where was her book from Baba? Chapter 3, The Special Book. Yasmin took a deep breath and looked around. She'd worked in so many places in the library. How would she find her book? She would have to go back to each one and look. First, she went to Mrs. Kogo's desk. The box of bookmarks was there, but no special book. Then she went to the shelves. She checked each section, A through Z. No special book there either. Oh no, had someone accidentally taken it? Suddenly, Yasmin heard Mrs. Kogo's voice. She was talking about animals. Yasmin turned. Her class was sitting on the carpet. Story time had started. Mrs. Kogo was reading Yasmin's special book from Baba. She hurried towards them and found a seat next to Emma. Yasmin, this book is fantastic, Emma whispered. Cats are so cool. I know, Yasmin whispered back with a smile. Soon the bell rang. Mrs. Kogo stopped reading. Thank you for sharing this book with the class, Yasmin. But we didn't get to finish it, Elise said. I have an idea, Yasmin said. I'll let Mrs. Kogo borrow my book for the week, then everyone will have a chance to read it. Mrs. Kogo smiled. You make a great librarian, Yasmin. So that's the end of it. That's the end of the story. But you know, Shannon, that every Yasmin book also had great back matter. So there's a lot of information and activities and things at the back once the story finishes.
Oh, I love that story. It's one of my
You might be biased just a little bit.
Might be a little biased, but like it's just so sweet. And that is one of the things that I love, I think too, most about the books is just the back matter, the pages that are in the back. And let's talk a little bit about like the inspiration, and then we can talk a little bit about what they can find in the back too. The inspiration behind one of our favorite characters.
Well, Yasmin herself is based on my daughters. I have 2 kids. My son is in high school and my daughter is in middle school, but I started writing this for several years ago. And my daughter, the younger one, she was maybe around kindergarten or first grade at that time, and she often would complain that none of the books she read had kids like her in the books. And it really got me thinking that she was correct. I did a lot of research. There were, no brown kids, no Muslim kids, no kids who were first generation American with immigrant parents, and families who were, slightly different from other families. They weren't there in books that she was reading. And she really, she's little, but she could tell that that was something that was missing in her life. So I decided to write a story about a girl like her with a family like my family. And, that's how the first Yasmin book came about. And now there's so many.
I bet she loves that though.
Well, she's 11-year-old, so I don't think she loves anything right now. Well, yeah, she is my family is very proud. And I try, and actually a lot of the Yasmin stories have been things that I've watched my kids, or they've come home with a funny story and that's gone in the book or something. So
yeah, that's one of the things that when the new ones came out, like before I got the new season, just, I don't know, it's probably a month ago or 6 weeks ago. Like that's one of the things that I love talking to our kids about when I bring them to the library. And now there are 16, 14?
There are 16 now, yeah. And I'm working on the next year's one. So next year there'll be 20. It's very, very surreal, actually. Very exciting.
Because they always wonder, like, I wonder how she thinks of her topics. I wonder, what will come next. And they love this because there's this big page, and we have this little girl in 2nd grade who is probably your biggest fan at Van Meter. And she said that she's like, look at all of them. And I'm surprised she didn't check them off.
Yeah, it's hard to come up with new ideas. I actually do ask a lot of people. There's a lot of brainstorming involved. So my kids help me. Often my daughter will come up with an idea. My editor at Capstone often comes up with good ideas that maybe you can try this, or maybe you can try that. And a lot of times when I do school visits with kids, which I do a lot, as you know, kids will tell me what they will hope to see Yasmin do next. If I get the same request multiple times, then I think, maybe it's time to actually address that, because a lot of people want it.
Yeah, I want to know that too. So in the back, let's talk about a little bit what our readers can find in the back, because I think that's one of the most important things too about your books and bringing them to our readers.
Yeah. Do you have it? Are you going to hold it up?
I do. So let's see. I think there's one page before this. Yes.
So the first one is always think about it, talk about it. Every Yasmin book has like a discussion question list, which teachers or librarians or even parents can use to just talk about some of the topics that the book has, and just get a conversation going that will make your kid think.
That's really great.
And then what is next? There's a glossary, right?
One of next, yep.
Yeah,
That's
so
why,
there's
yes.
always a couple words usually in a Yasmin book that are different. This one you noticed, I read the word kitab. Kitab means book in Urdu. And it's just usually, one word here or there. And then obviously there's Baba and Mama and what she calls her grandparents, Nana or Nani. So there are a few words. If you're interested, you can learn. And then the next one is facts about Pakistan. So Yasmin's family in the story is from Pakistan because my family originally, and I am from Pakistan. I grew up there. I came to the U.S. as an adult. So I think that it's, for my family, it's a very important part of our identity. And so I want to have my readers kind of just learn a little bit more about a country that they may not know much about. And then lastly is the fun one. There's always a craft or an activity or some kind of, even a recipe sometimes that's related to the story. So this one, what does this one have? I don't even remember. Is it a bookmark?
Bookmark, yes.
Yeah. So, in Yasmin the chef, there was a recipe. And then in Yasmin the teacher, there was a scented pencils that she has. And so just depending on the story, in the singer, it's a microphone. So
I think that's something too that our kids really like, and we have the ebooks as well, and so they can read them at home too, which is really
ah,
fun. So they love them, and the illustrations, they
oh my
are
gosh.
the I love her little expressions, and her little face is just so cute. I think those are so neat too.
Yeah, Hatem is a genius. He's really good artist, and I'm very grateful that he's on our team. The whole team, I mean, we've got the editor there who's the artistic, the person who kind of like manages all that. And I mean, I don't even know what they're doing, right? I write it and then I'll send it to them, and then a few months later I get the sketches, and I'm always blown away.
Oh, that's so neat. So did you always want to be a writer when you were younger?
Oh, no. I mean, I always wrote when I was a kid. I have memories of being in third grade and writing stories in little notebooks, but I never realized it was a job. I would read books, but it never crossed my mind that there are people who are writing these books.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I read books that were mostly written by people 100 years ago. So I guess I just assumed everybody who's writing books is dead now, but I wasn't until, I mean, I had other jobs, and it was really when I became a mom, and I got, I came to the US and I was just doing other things, and I kept thinking that I want to start writing again. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's so great though. I mean, that's one thing that I think is always so fun for kids to hear from authors, and even talk to illustrators,
Yeah.
and really think about how you especially have something in your life that you want to bring to life. Like, we talked to you once, I think it was our fourth graders, and they were
Mhm.
so inspired. I mean, and it's
Oh,
inspiring for you too as an author, right? To hear
yeah.
from kids.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I like to remind kids that, people are always asking kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's always stressful because what is a kid going to say? And I just want to tell them that it's okay if you don't know what you're going to be. Chances are that what you think right now is not going to be how you are when you're a grown up anyway. So just do what you're good at, find your talent. It took me a while. I mean, I went to college for something totally different. And I actually have 2 degrees in something that's totally unrelated to this, a bachelor's and a master's. So I just kind of, I feel that it's okay if it takes you a little time to figure out what you want to do in your life.
That's right. I agree. So you have to tell us what you're working on next. Working on more of these books, I'm sure.
I Today was my first day to write, and I'm actually behind my schedule. So, yeah, 4 new Yasmin books, which will come out in January of next year. What else am I working on that I can talk about? I'm working on a lot of things that I can't talk about, but the one that another project I'm really excited about is a graphic novel, middle grade graphic novel. I have another September is going to be another middle grade contemporary novel that I have coming out. So lots of stuff to look forward to.
Well, we're excited, and we're so happy that you joined us today. I know that I can't wait to share this with my kids, and they'll
Yay.
love listening to you read, and hearing more about what you have coming up, and just being inspired by you like always. So do
Oh,
you
thank you.
do you have any words to leave our kids with, our readers with, words of wisdom that you would like to share?
I mean, well, If you want to be a writer, I can give some writing advice because kids always want to know how to, write better, or teachers want them to know how to write better. And you know what I'm going to say? My first writing tip for everybody, kids or grown-ups, is really not about writing. It's about reading. You really have to read a lot. Read a lot, a lot, a lot. You can't believe how much I read. I read so much. A lot of my time actually is spent reading of the day. And that's so that we can be inspired by things, by books, but also it really helps our imagination. It helps us to think better. It helps us to see how to write better. And then the other tip I would have is, when you write something, don't turn it in right away. A lot of times when we're kids, we want to write a first draft, whether it's a class assignment or an essay or a story, and then we're done with it. But I never do that. My first draft doesn't get shared with anyone. I do a lot of revision and I work on it for a long time before I submit it. So I hope you do that too.
That is great advice. Oh, thank you so much. And I can't wait to just keep up on everything that you're working on. And thank you for everything that you do for our readers.
Thank you so much, Shannon. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks everybody for joining us today. We'll see you next time.